So how much should a UK buy-to-let property make you every single month? Are you making money or are you losing money? I like to make about £1,000 a month. Okay, so I'm Jess.
I'm Adam.
And we are forthelandlords.com. We help landlords start, scale and optimise, get more money, less hassle, their time back.
Yeah,
So
okay, today's topic. So how much money should you make per property?
I like to make about £1,000 a month. Should we dig into how?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, well, I think there's three things we need to talk about. So the first one is, are you a cash flow or capital investor? Or a blend of both? Property isn't just about the monthly profit that comes in, far from it. That capital growth.
Confession, I only ever look at the monthly income.
Oh, they are. And you put the other bit down as, there's a bonus.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah. I do think about it, not every day or month or year, maybe when I come up for the remortgage.
Yep.
I look at it then. But yeah, you're right.
Well, I've got a confession too. I never used to look at it either until it started becoming something that was more significant. The longer you own the property, the more it becomes. And then as soon as I realised that, I got into property buying what we bought on the understanding, the hope, the promise that it was going to do that. And I had the same mindset as you've got, which is, let's buy it, make sure it makes money every month. We'll talk about that in a minute. And let's forget about, in that nice way, about the capital growth. You know, put it to one side, it'll be going up. I'm not going to obsess about it. I'm not going to constantly be looking at what values are doing in the area. I'm not going to make it a thing in my head.
I know what most UK landlords do.
Cool.
They buy the wrong house. This is like the average sort of do-it-yourself landlord, if you like. They buy the wrong house in the wrong area, they pay a bit too much for it, and then they try and manage it themselves, and their rents are never at the market level. So there's a stat, around about 85% of all the landlords in the UK are self-managing landlords. They don't use an agent, and nearly every self-managed landlord I've ever met has got some form of issue, whether it's rent owed to them, some ongoing maintenance problems, they fell out with builders, or their rent is just not at the market level. So they're losing money. They're just losing money. Yeah. You said at the start, are you making money or losing money? Most landlords are losing money.
If they put everything, you're right. If they've got the wrong house in the wrong area and they're not managing the day to day. So I think there's three things to concentrate on. One is that question of cash flow or capital, and you should always come back to the point. I made a point of it, and anybody I'd ever speak to, client or otherwise, I'd make a point of, actually, when you're saying about a refinance, every time I refinance, I now know what the property's worth, and I take it all the way back to day one. You divide the number of years I've owned it into the capital gain, and you can see how much it's got up. I make that as a discipline. We do it. I've got a spreadsheet that works it out. I think we give the spreadsheet away somewhere. I do the same thing once a year. It's not as accurate because you've got to get an evaluation to actually make it accurate. Best way is to sell it. We're not doing that. The best way to value a property is to sell it, isn't it? But we're not doing that. So, capital, cash flow, put them together. That's your total property return. That's the number you should be measuring, and your the capital. In my case, just the normal stuff that we've been buying, capital is almost always more than the rental profit. So that's the first thing. Second, how much should you make?
Well, let's just talk about actually how much should you make a month cash flowing?
Cash flow.
From a normal, without the
my next point is where? Like where?
Yeah.
So the second thing is what area? Like if you're buying in the middle of London, you'd expect less because of your capital. Cut to the chase, that's what you want. You want to name a number, don't you? £400 a month.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, about
£350 to £400.
The kind of stuff we buy. We're buying stuff that
the average house that the average person in the UK lives in,
up to £150,000.
Yeah, in the Midlands and the north of England typically. Yeah, I think so. I think 350 to 400 is where you should be at.
Yeah. So you've got to.
That should include some management fees, though.
Yeah,
I'm telling every don't necessarily use us, but use an agent. Use us, please. Why? For the reasons I just said before.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. Well, there's 180 odd pieces of legislation now that you have to know. You have to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Most people aren't. That means you've got to be available when you're on holiday, Christmas Day, if you're a self-managing landlord. Most self-managing landlords lose money. Make sure you're not.
The nuts and bolts of running a property portfolio, the day-to-day operations, the stuff that a letting agent should manage, the list. Voids, avoid the void. The void is a killer. If you have an empty property for a period of time, you want tenants that stay there longer, ideally 3 years, 4 years, and you want to turn them around as quick as you can when it does come void. Start planning before they leave. Get any work that's needed doing planned in so it's tight. So avoid the void. Bad debts, jump on arrears quickly. Arrears aren't necessarily a problem. A tenant loses their job. There's not a lot they can do about that. They will almost certainly miss their next rent payment, won't they? But bad debts, they're the problem. Arrears that come home to roost and you can't do anything about it.
Most self-managing landlords that I've met that have tenant arrears was from friends of friends they've moved in.
Yeah.
Because they've just not referenced them properly. They've just gone, my friend's friend needed a house live. They seem nice.
They seem nice.
Yeah.
I know their mum and dad. Yeah, that. So avoid bad debt. Maintenance, control your maintenance costs. It's easy to go over the top and spend too much on maintenance. You need a value for money matrix. Then the next one would be putting your rents to the market level. Most landlords aren't rented right. It seems obvious, but when you dig under the hood, we don't see it often because we don't look often because it's none of our business in many cases, but landlords who've got the wrong mortgage product. So if you're looking at putting the rents up, it seems obvious to put the mortgages down to make your gross margin as big as it can be. But lots of landlords just don't do that. You can pick up the phone and get a product transfer and save £50, £100 a month. Then after that it'd be compliance, and that's not really a cost other than when it comes and explodes and you've got
cost of doing business. Just make sure you're always compliant. But
make sure you're compliant.
But that should be factored in.
When I say it's not a cost, it's not a cost that you'd see in your accounts every month, like insurance, for example, until it happens, and then it's like, well, there's a 10 grand bill because of this. It's like an explosion. It goes off, and then the final thing for me would be tax. So when you talk about profit, you talk about profit before tax. It's possible in this day with Section 24 tax, if you're not structured right, you should and you can be structured right, so get that sorted out. Limited companies, moving from personal through partnership to limited companies, a tried and tested path. Get some proper advice. We can't advise you on that, but you've got to look into it at least. But landlords, it's possible now to be taking an amount of money, your turnover's at a certain level, but you're getting taxed on turnover. There is very little profit, but you're being taxed on the high turnover, so you're actually paying more in tax than the profit you've got. That's possible, it happens. So getting your tax position is probably, but if you're in that situation, it's crucial. If you're buying in your personal name, you've got no mortgages, doesn't really matter if that's what you're doing. But if it affects you massively, and your tax is your problem. So yeah, 400 quid is the answer. Profit every month. I said £1,000 at the beginning because if I look at my total property return, buy the right house in the right area, expect it to go up. I refinance consistently, measuring back to the day I bought it, and I know that I'm making over £600 a month. Some of them are over £2,000 a month in some really, really good areas. On capital growth, so add that to the £400, and that's how I got the £1,000. It'd be really nice if every property you put in your property portfolio would make £1,000 a month. Yeah, and it can do.
It can. If you've got any issues with the things we've said, if you have some tenant arrears or maintenance problems, book a call, have a chat with us. I'll put you in touch with the right member of the team. We can chase old bad debt, can't we? Doesn't just have to be the tenant that's living there.
Our rent collection rate is over 100% because we get old debt. Chase it for landlords that are joining us with old debt. So definitely can.
There'll also be a link, I think, below to book onto one of our upcoming webinars.
If you've done a good job, there'll be a link. Right, okay. Is that it?
I think so.
Time for now. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. It really helps us reach more people and spread the word. Hopefully you've found us in all the places you can, but if you haven't, go to forthelandlords.com.
Both.
That was a slip, yeah. Fortherenters.com is where we rent our properties for our tenants. Forthelandlords.com is if you're a landlord. Join and get access to all the membership benefits.